Greetings and salutations, everybody. I got another quick movie recommendation here for one that may be kind of hit or miss. It's for a new Amazon-produced film called Totally Killer. Now, as I mentioned, this is an Amazon production, so of course it's on Amazon Prime, and it stars Kiernan Shipka, who I'm mainly familiar with from Chilling Adventures of Sabrina on Netflix. Olivia Holt, who I think I only really know from the Marvel show Cloak and Dagger that was out a few years back, and Lachlan Monroe, and a few other recognizable faces like Randall Park. And the synopsis for this one is as follows. When the infamous Sweet 16 killer returns 35 years after his first murder spree to claim another victim, 17-year-old Jamie accidentally travels back in time to 1987, determined to stop the killer before he can start. So, this is a title that I'd seen a lot of mixed reactions and posts for on social media. Some thought it was a lot of fun and light, while others seemed to think it was a waste of a concept, or that it kind of ripped off Final Girls from 2015, which I highly disagree with. So quick note on Final Girls, if you hear that same comparison happening. So Final Girls is about a girl whose mother dies, who was a scream queen, and about a year later at a showing of some of the films that her mother was in, something happens that transports this girl into the movie, and now she's stuck in an 80s slasher, like specifically in an 80s slasher film with her mother in it as the character that she played in the films, and now she needs to find a way out. A little bit more like a Last Action Hero in a way. But anyways, Totally Killer is very different from that, where it's more in line with Back to the Future, crossed with a slasher on top of all that. So she goes back in time, needs to be aware of, timeline changes like in Back to the Future, since it's around, since she's going to be around her parents when they were in high school, as well as a lot of the townsfolk and everything. But this gives her an opportunity to find out who this mysterious slasher is, and to stop them from, killing in the first place, much less reappearing current day in 2023 and kind of reigniting this murder spree. So this was a very light film in some ways, and it was hard to put my finger on exactly, what to say to kind of describe it. So the best I can come up with is think Back to the Future style time travel, seeing her parents and the town folks. A slasher along the lines of Scream, as far as like the violence and any gore, lots of stabbing and all that. And being very meta and self-aware, which we mainly get through our lead actress in that she knows a lot about horror films. Disney Channel and Nickelodeon, but just in the production quality, in that this felt more like a movie from one of those stations rather than something with a big theatrical, cinematic kind of feel to it. And cheesy. I mean, a high schooler invents time travel. This is cheesy, you just have to go with it. But the biggest thing is, I would say, is this is kind of silly while also being very violent and stabby, like I said. So one moment it seems to be complete parody that is a light comedy, and the next someone's getting stabbed 16 times. It's almost like the film didn't really know if it was supposed to be serious or if it was supposed to be not serious, because it's very campy and silly and funny and a parody. So I can totally see a viewer wondering how they were even supposed to take this film and just really not being able to enjoy it. Even for me, there were times where I was wondering if I should even finish the film, especially within that first 30 minutes. It took a lot to really get me on board and to even try to figure out where they were wanting me to, where they were wanting to take me with this one. But then I just kind of turned off my brain a little bit and thought, Back to the Future can't be corny, borderline parody with lots of violent stabby times, and just have fun with it. And with keeping all that in mind, I really did end up having a lot of fun with this. I think that Kiernan really brought her A game to this and owned every scene. As did everybody else, whether they were like in a main featured role or just like a minor background character. Everybody did a really good job with it. Now the film really does lean into a lot of the 80s tropes, quite a bit, and kind of poked fun at how some aspects of life were back then, and how high schoolers of the 80s would likely have reacted to a high schooler from 2023 kind of coming back with their phrases and behavior, whether it's about personal boundaries, responsibilities friends should have, or how politically incorrect certain things were back in the 80s compared to her life in 2023. So we get this mystery of who the killer is, with our main character being the only one who knows anything about those events and kind of remembering what she had read about to see if it can help her stop any of those killings from happening. We also get to see the stress of how to keep the parents together, so she can continue to exist. And some of the changes, that even happen, as far as like, can she make any changes to prevent certain people from getting killed? Can she even get home at all? But is there any way to even stop this guy? But, and on top of that, we also get this result of the time travel, and that no matter how careful she is, there's going to be a lot of small changes in the 80s that are probably going to have a paradox down the line or cause some sort of major change. So, there's a lot of stuff to kind of work in with that really makes it interesting. But yeah, all in all, I can completely understand why many may not really like this film at all. It may not just be their cup of tea, but really personally, I felt that keeping in mind certain things about the story and just going with it, it made it more than worth opening up Amazon Prime and checking it out. Speaking of checking out, like I said, this is the latest video for Total Killer, which is available on Amazon Prime. It may not be a cup of tea, but if you go in with the right mindset, I think you're going to enjoy it. And if interested in my review on Final Girls, which I really loved as well, I'll link to that at the end of this video. But anyways, that was an early one of mine, so it may be a little bit more cringy than most of my videos usually are. Anyways, thanks for coming by. Go ahead and check out Totally Killer if it sounds interesting, and I will see you in the next one.